All right, welcome. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me and see me. And let me know where you are tuning in from. All right, let's have an amazing session today. Hopefully you guys are doing awesome, excited about the crypto markets. Things are looking wild in a great way. Good, all good. Great. I'm here in Las Vegas for the last week here. Oh, actually, I'll have Monday, so I'll be in Las Vegas one more time on Monday. Then we're going to have to do a little bit of shuffling, most likely, moving to the Philippines, but all good stuff. All right. Hey, Jim, how's it going? David, how is it going? Chip. We'll give it a few moments and then we will get started. Wow, this is really cool. We have a ton to go over today. Okay. Hard time logging into the call. Sorry about that. Hopefully that gets ironed out. There's always technical issues, right? I try to avoid them, but they're there. You guys got audio? Okay, beautiful. All right, welcome Troy, Aaron. Let's give it just a few more minutes and we will get started. Let me know if everything's looking good. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And we will rock the crypto markets today. Let's do a quick disclaimer. Okay, please know that nothing on this call is financial advice. Everything here is for education purposes only. Trading does involve risk. And if you do take any trades, please do so at your own risk. Or consult with a qualified financial advisor. Okay, spectacular. Let's see here if I have any updates. So next week, I'll be moving to the Philippines. So expect a few changes potentially to the schedule. Monday's call should be good. Friday's call this week should be good. We might actually be moving those to Sunday at some point. But I'll keep you guys posted there. Also, we do always seem to get some weirdos in here that try to impersonate me. So if you ever see me asking you for anything, that's a red flag. And of course, I coach and all that stuff, but I'm not going to ask you for Bitcoin or tell you about my next investment opportunity behind the scenes. I'm not that kind of guy. So if you do see any of that, that's not me. And just please report it and I will ban them. It seems to be, it doesn't matter where you go. There are imposter accounts that try to come in. So it is what it is. Just don't send them Bitcoin and we'll be good. And I'll make sure to ban them. All right, beautiful. Well, let's go ahead and get started. We have a ton to go over today. Definitely use the chat for any questions. And for anybody who doesn't know me, I've been in the crypto space since 2018, and I have been teaching since 2021 professionally. I've taught well over 10,000 people all across the globe at this point. I've taught for some of the largest trading organizations in the world. I was actually held to a standard where I would publicly submit all of my trades over these last 4 years. So I had to document all of my trades publicly and hold at least a 65% win rate. And it was a really amazing exercise. That's really what got me to learn how to trade. And I've also, of course, taught people along the way. But with that, it's been my mission to show you guys what I've learned and help you guys learn how to trade as well. My specialty is swing trading. I like to be able to capture the bigger moves in the crypto market because there are huge moves in crypto. So swing trading is a very good strategy to catch those moves. Also, you can learn how to minimize the downside very well when it comes to swing trading. A lot of people try to long-term invest in cryptocurrency. It's great when the market goes up, but typically they round trip all of their profits. You know, they see their account go up and then it goes all the way down because they don't know how to manage risk. They don't know how to manage their trades. So these are the things that I teach. I found that swing trading, at least in my opinion, is a sweet spot because essentially you're finding parts in the charts, the price action, you're managing your downside very tightly and you're maximizing the upside and you're trailing your stop losses and taking profits along the way. So you can actually capture the majority of the move rather than, you know, just kind of hoping that the market just keeps going up. And the crypto market historically has not just kept going up. I mean, I guess over the macro, but you have like 90% drawdowns. That's very, very challenging to participate in. So my goal is to help definitely in that regard as well. Risk management is pretty much what traders do. So if you're not focusing on risk management, you're not really trading. Okay, let's dive in. We're going to start with news, and then we're going to go into the charts. We're going to talk about some altcoins. I'm going to do a little lesson on what it takes to become a trader, and then we can open it up to some questions. So on that note, let's get rocking here. And if you do have any challenges with the audio and stuff, I'm on my laptop, so I'm going to periodically check the chat. Sometimes it gets wacky, but hopefully this does the trick. So first thing, let's go into a little bit of conspiracies, which is really interesting because it's on today. Today is October 6th. So if anybody knows the old school kind of forum 4chan, a lot of weird premonition stuff that happens in this realm, but there was an anonymous post that a lot of people are pulling up. Obviously, it's kind of retrofitting to the date, but this post is basically saying that the next bull market would start literally today on October 2025. Said all-time low 2015 to all-time high 2017. That's 1,064 days. The next cycle was 364 days. The cycle after that, 1,064 days. The cycle after that, 364 days. And the next one would then logically get us to October 6th. And it's really, really nuts because if you guys see the charts that I pull up today, we are actually seeing a breakout into all-time highs from the altcoin space. So very, 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 very weird coincidental stuff, but it is retrofitting, right? Where the market is always going to try to find like who was right. Sure, you can find somebody who was right, you know, but how many people are wrong too, right? So this guy could have just gotten lucky if that's the case, but fun to look at nonetheless. Okay, next piece of news here. I'm not sure if you guys saw it in the chats, but if we look at the returns of Bitcoin on either a quarterly scale or on a monthly scale, and we look at the historical patterns, we have our Q1. Whoops. Let me just make sure you guys can see it. Okay, cool. We have our Q1, our Q2, Q3, Q4, and then we have our average percentages across the bottom. And what you can see potentially is Q4 is the most bullish crypto, the most bullish quarter in crypto. Now, of course, past performance does not guarantee future performance, obviously, but we can take these as inferences to generally what we might see and add that to our thesis. Traders and investors, you kind of want to be like a lawyer or something like that. You want to be able to present your case. So if you can present a case, what do you want? You want a lot of pieces of evidence. If you come into the courtroom or whatever it is, and you have just one piece of evidence, it's not going to be as powerful as having, 10, 20, 100 pieces of evidence towards a certain outcome or bias, right? So we're just gathering evidence. So our evidence right now, we're getting into Q4. Q4 is historically the most bullish quarter. Also, Q1 is a bullish quarter as well. So that Q4 to Q1 transition can actually be pretty powerful. So we'll see if that is going to align. And then if we take a look at Bitcoin monthly returns, we can also see that on the months, if we look at, say, October, November, and December, we scroll down to the averages. Both, I know you guys can't see it, both November and October are historically high percentage averages. And October, in terms of green versus red months, is one of the most bullish months in crypto. They actually call it Uptober. So then the whole end of the year can be called the Santa Claus rally. There's all these names for this stuff. So we have at least history on our side, which is pretty cool. Hopefully you guys saw that in the chats and all that good stuff. And let's go to our next piece of news. Another gigantic one is, yeah, we're there. Okay, on October 29th, the Fed has their next interest rate decision. It's still, a little ways away, but right now there is a 92% chance that interest rates are going to drop another 25 to 50 basis points, which is huge. That's going to allow for businesses to want to most likely borrow money, and that can potentially stimulate economic activity. Sometimes that borrowing can go directly into, say, treasury investing. So this stuff typically flows into the economy at some point. Now, the biggest thing people keep forgetting about this is it's not just like one-to-one, right? The market, like to get these cheaper loans from the Fed, to translate that into crypto going up or stocks going up, there's usually a lagging effect. So people always say, oh, the market went down, but they're lowering interest rates. See, you were wrong. No, it's yeah, the market can go down, right? There can be fundamental effects beyond this. But overall, if interest rates are getting cheaper, that is going to be expansionary for the economy. So you just take that piece of data, you add it towards, your case. Okay. In further news, this is going to be big for NFTs. This is actually really interesting. I think some of you guys might have heard that I believe that NFTs, and the real use case of NFTs are done deal. There's a humongous use case for NFTs. To have verifiable contracts on the blockchain, extremely, extremely beneficial. There's so much crazy stuff. Like, for example, I'm moving to the Philippines, and I need to get documents notarized. I need to get documents apostilled, or even if that's a word, I got to get an apostle on my documents. And the whole reason I have to do these things, I literally have to mail them to the government, and they have to mail it back to me. Somebody has to stamp it. Kind of crazy. But with the blockchain, where we have completely verified transactions, we can actually have documents that are fully verified on the blockchain, which is an NFT. So these documents, if they were NFTs, I wouldn't necessarily have to get them notarized or apostilled because it's verified on the blockchain. So NFTs, huge use case. Just the initial point of a lot of these things are typically remedial. What gets popular first is usually the more base level. It's what the average person can do. So what NFTs have done so far is like artwork, right? To say that this contract represents this piece of digital art. That's what a lot of people think NFTs are. It's not just artwork. Just artwork became popular because it was the lowest hanging fruit. But other than that, there was a major company called Yuga Labs. They created Bored Ape Yacht Club, which is one of the top NFTs in the world. You can think of this as like, I don't know what you want to call it. You can think of it as like the Picassos of NFTs or something like that. They're very, they're regarded as sought after pieces of artwork, or you're now part of a membership or part of a club, if you will. And it's a status symbol. It's like wearing a Rolex or whatever it is. It's all status symbols. Rolex is, sure, there's metal and all that stuff, but the main value of these things beyond the metal, right? You can buy a Rolex at the store for, who knows, $10,000, $5,000, and on the secondary market, it'll go for 30, 40, 50, 60, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Well, that's not the value of the metal at that point. It's the value of the status that people are buying. Also, their fixed supplies, all that good stuff. But I digress. One of the biggest companies that created NFTs and still create NFTs is called Yuga Labs. They were getting looked into by the SEC to see if these were going to be securities, and it looks like the SEC has dismissed this case, potentially opening the doors for people feeling more comfortable creating NFTs again. And we talked about it last time. Hyperliquid had a drop to early founders or early users of Hyperliquid, and they're going for like hundreds of thousands of dollars. So that could be like the next CryptoPunks, and we could potentially start to see more NFTs come down the pipeline because of this stuff. So, okay, cool. You guys are pretty quiet in the chats, but that just must mean you guys are so captivated. All right. Next piece of news here. It really does look that stocks, in terms of these IPOs for crypto companies, have been a big narrative. A lot of these stocks, these companies that are becoming crypto treasury companies, have been performing like meme coins. They're having like hundreds and thousands of % gains. So one place to potentially start looking is not just in cryptocurrency itself, but the companies that are buying crypto as treasury assets. So in this article, it looks like crypto financial services firm Matrix Port said Friday that more than $200 billion worth of crypto companies are preparing for their initial public offerings. So this could raise between $30 and $45 billion in new capital. So you can start to look for some of these tickers, and you can start to look at, start Googling, ChatGPTing, what these companies could potentially be. I'm not like an expert in these. I'm not sure how much you're going to see from me on this side, because I kind of stick to what I'm good at, but I have been looking into some of these projects, and I'll let you guys know about some of them. None on my radar at the moment, though. Okay. So the U.S. Senate actually just had a pretty big, I guess, meeting or hearing on how corporations are taxed on cryptocurrencies. And I didn't know this. I heard rumors of this, but there was I guess there was like legislation being built that unrealized capital gains were going to be taxed on crypto, which is, I can't even put my mind around that. But for those of you guys who don't know what that means, basically, the way you traditionally get taxed on like appreciation for an asset is after you realize the gain. Meaning that, say I bought Bitcoin went from $50,000 to $100,000, and I didn't sell, I don't have a taxable event. That's called unrealized gains. But if I do sell, that would be called realized gains, and that would be a taxable event. So I guess the IRS was looking to try to tax companies on the crypto that they did not sell yet, which is crazy. It's like the gains that you may make, really crazy. So I guess that's going away, which could open the door for a lot more companies to want to have cryptocurrency on their balance sheet, because they're not just going to freaking hold crypto and get taxed just for fun on it if the price goes up, which I think is bonkers. So we're getting some more pro crypto tax clarity, which is good for on a corporate level. Next piece of news here is Tether, which is one of the largest companies in the world now, which is really crazy. They created the stablecoin Tether. I'm sorry, what are they called? Yeah, Tether's the company. USDT is the stablecoin. Thank you. My brain. So they're believing that all currencies will eventually be digital in the future. They're already digital, right? What people don't realize is like paper money, like the actual dollars out there, is not the majority of money out there. The majority of money out there is just literally digits on a screen. That's the majority of the money out there. So money is already digital currencies, but they're not ran on blockchains per se. So we're starting to have some ideas from the founders of Tether. They know a lot about crypto, and they're saying that basically all currencies are going to be on blockchains at some point. Which, well, what would be the benefit to crypto overall? Well, if currencies are on blockchains, then they can easily transfer into other cryptocurrencies. That's going to be that fungibility where you can start to transfer and swap currencies to currencies, and allowing the currency market to be very easily integrated with the cryptocurrency market is enormous, right? I forgot how much global liquidity is. Probably like, hundreds of trillions of dollars, right? And the total crypto market is like $4 trillion. So pretty cool. All right, next piece of news here. So altcoin ETFs, there's actually a potential big October for altcoin ETFs with 16 crypto ETFs on the October calendar for deadlines. Let's see if they have the list here. I guess they don't have the list on which coins those are, but also on September 17th, the SEC now made a generic listing guideline for ETFs so that these ETFs are a lot easier to file. So we're probably going to see a lot more ETFs being filed for altcoins. So we're really seeing cryptocurrency hit the main street here, which is really, really cool. Okay, hopefully everybody's following me. If you have any questions, I know I'm moving fast, but if you have any questions, just go ahead and write them in. All right. Linea, this is a little bit talking about a specific blockchain. So CoinSys is the creator of MetaMask. MetaMask is the most popular software crypto wallet. Looks like they will be creating a rewards program, and they are going to distribute those rewards into Linea. So there's kind of two things here. Number one, MetaMask is going to be one of the first crypto wallets to actually create rewards. Makes a lot of sense. Like these, I'm telling you guys, crypto wallets are going to be the new internet, in my opinion. That's going to be like the new Google. It's going to be the new social media. Everything is going to be inside a crypto wallet, which means that everything you do on the internet can have transactions. You can transact, you can monetize every single thing you can think of on the internet. So having a wallet that has rewards now is going to be the logical next step. And it's going to be a lot easier for companies to give people rewards because crypto is very seamless, it's permissionless, so that these companies can give people rewards for doing literally anything. This brings into the future of crypto, which a huge use case of crypto is called micropayments, to where you can start to pay people for little baby tasks. For example, every time, this is kind of where crypto is going to be headed. So anytime that, say, somebody tweets about Walmart or whatever it is, tweets about Nike, you might get paid a little bit of money, whatever, Nike coin, whatever it might be, you might get paid, or what some of MetaMask rewards per every post that you post about a certain company. Crazy stuff. And obviously more followers probably get more money, but this is going to turn basically the digital economy. It's going to grow it by 10 to 100 fold, in my opinion. Really, really crazy stuff. So in-wallet rewards makes a lot of sense, and I guess they're distributed this into their new blockchain, Linea. We talked about Linea, I think, last time. Linea is partnering up with Swift. Swift does about $2 quadrillion a year in transactions. So Linea definitely could be a thing. All right, we're getting to the end of the news here. So here's a little chart that I think is a little bit interesting. I'm not sure if you guys can see it very well. Let me just check back in. Okay, hopefully you guys can see that decent. But these guys, Tefra, or however you pronounce this, created some really nice correlation charts. You have global money supply, basically, global M2 versus the price of Bitcoin. They've noticed that there's been a pretty nice tight correlation between M2 and Bitcoin if there's a 102-day lag, saying that basically if the money supply is growing globally, that eventually that hits Bitcoin to a certain degree, about 102 days later. And you can see here that the money supply for Bitcoin, obviously this is a little bit of an older chart, has been following that, but you can see that money supply is going up. And also Bitcoin is likely following. Also, Bitcoin potentially lagging gold. Gold has been going up super high. Could Bitcoin potentially follow gold too? Okay, let me know if you guys have any questions on that news, and I'll make sure to answer those before we go into the technicals of the market. Hopefully this stuff is helpful. Okay, and I'll periodically check the chat. But going into the technicals of the market, so what we're going to look at right now is just the total crypto market index. This is the total crypto market index on the daily time frame. We can see a few different things going on here. Something we noted before is over back here. This was the basically end of the year 2024 highs for the crypto market. That's where our local top was put in for crypto. Crypto made a full recovery and started to break out and chop a lot above this neckline, above the 2024 high breakout. And what we're seeing now is that consolidation actually has been broken. You can see here, we are seeing a breakout of this big consolidation right here. So from low to high, if say we do see an equal measured move for the total crypto market, could that potentially now have the market extend if there is going to be an equal measured move to about 4.75 trillion? We will see. Another one that is extremely interesting is if we look at the altcoin market. So this is the total 3 chart. It's basically just looking at pure altcoins. You're taking out Bitcoin, you're taking out Ethereum. Actually, even the total 2 chart. Let's see. All right, let's just go to total 3. All right, the total 3 chart. Is it on a log chart? Well, anyways, it is officially breaking not only above its 2021 bull market highs, that was the last bull market. We have our 2024 highs right here, and we can actually see the crypto market, the altcoin market, breaking above that key level, which historically, if the market breaks past its bull market highs, that is a very, very bullish event typically. This would be a just monstrous cup with handle pattern. We have this cup. We have this handle formation. And if we take, say, a low from the base of the cup and potentially project that to the upside at this breakout, could we potentially see altcoins pushing up here to around $2 trillion? That would be on average the altcoin market pushing up about 74% from this level. That is a major cycle breakout. Usually when you see these cycle breakouts coupled with handle patterns, that is a bullish chart formation. And we've been waiting to see that breakout for a while, right? You know, a lot of people say, oh, you know, it failed, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, it started to make its way back up. We didn't see the weekly close. This is a weekly chart. So at the end of this week, if the market actually can close above that key neckline, that is going to be the official breakout, where you can see there have been no weekly closes above that level since 2021. Can you guys see the chart? Okay, hopefully you guys can see the chart. Try refreshing your screen, possibly. Okay, beautiful. How do you describe tokenization? So I believe that's what you're asking, JC. So a good way to think of tokenization is you're creating a contract that represents an asset. So that's basically what you're doing, and the token would be the contract. So that would be the unique ID of that token. So you're thinking of basically there's two different types of tokens, right? There's fungible tokens, which is going to be your cryptocurrencies, which means one token is not distinguishable from another token. And the non-fungible tokens, NFTs, that's where a token is distinguishable from a different token. So let me give you an example. So like I'm looking at a house in front of me. That house can be tokenized in two different ways. So obviously you have the deed, the title. I'm not a real estate expert. You have the deed, the title to the house. And you can essentially have a token represent that title. And the blockchain will verify that that token has been issued correctly so that they know that that is legit. And of course, whatever the parties who upload that have to be legit parties, etc., that it all makes sense. But say whatever it is, I don't know, Remax lists this house as an NFT on the blockchain. Maybe it's the Ethereum network. You could essentially, if you wanted to sell that house, all you do is you would transfer that token to somebody else, and that's the whole house. And that's called the non-fungible token because if there's two different houses that have created tokens, I just can't like say I can give you another house's token and it's going to represent that house. Now, also, I could tokenize that house and break it up into, and basically fractionalize it. And that's when you're going to create a fungible token. So where I say, I'm going to token the house in front of me for 1,000 tokens. I'm going to break it up into 1,000 tokens. So I can then give people 5% of that house or pay people in basically that house's equity or whatever the value are. And it doesn't matter if I got, any of those tokens, it would still represent 5% of that house or whatever. So hopefully that helps. Just you can think of it as basically creating a contract on the blockchain that represents that asset. If everything was tokenized, yes, chart reading in anything. People think that like price charts only apply to like stocks or cryptocurrencies. No, you can use price charts to like anything. Think of Labubus. If you understood Labubus and you made a dot price chart, a line chart, whatever it is, on the prices of what Labubus are selling at, you could figure out if the market was crashing. You could figure out if the prices were low, if the prices were extended. You could do it for artwork. You can do it for commodities. You can literally do it for anything that's selling for anything. Price action applies. Yes, WorldCoin. Well, so the proof of personhood ID, that would be a unique NFT that'd be like your wallet address, and that's technically like an NFT, your wallet address. And the coin itself is fungible, so they use the coin interchangeably. So the coin doesn't represent a person for WorldCoin. Awesome. Great questions. So the biggie here is the altcoin market is looking like it's actually making the big breakout. So if you kind of think of this, there wasn't an actual new high for altcoins this whole entire time. 2023, there wasn't a new high for altcoins. All through 2024, there wasn't a new high for altcoins. All through 2025 until now, there has not been a new high for altcoins. So altcoins are officially breaking into new highs. We'll still have to wait until the end of the week here to see if it's going to be a confirmed breakout, but that is very significant. For example, if we look at 2017, Obviously, a little bit of a different market cycle. But if we look at 2017 and we check out the 2017 all-time highs, right? Obviously in 2020 there was some bullish behavior, but altcoins got very bullish after the all-time highs of 2017 were broken. That's where we saw this big extension to the upside. So usually after new highs are broken, that's where you see a new extension. Okie dokie. That's the bullish news. Let's go into some potentially bearish news. Let's balance it out. So check out this chart. I'm not sure how correct I am, but let's take a gander if we can. So this chart is pretty interesting. If I draw a line, and a lot of people have been drawing this line a little bit odd, but now this line fits really, really well. So we have Bitcoin here on the 2-week time frame, and we can actually connect the peaks of all of the major peaks in Bitcoin. This is the 2017 high. Here's the 2021 high. Here's the 2025 high. And if I draw across the peaks, we are now seeing the major macro market cycle top resistance. And every time the market hit this, there was some sort of sell-off. So the question is, will Bitcoin actually be able to break through this macro resistance trend line, or is this now going to be the top for Bitcoin? We'll have to see. Could Bitcoin break through it? Now we're going to have a full new macro cycle for this, or is this the top for Bitcoin? That's going to be very, very interesting. So a little bit of an interesting spot for Bitcoin. I definitely want to see if Bitcoin could break through this or not. I think eventually it will, but we will have to see. Oh, Sailor said he's taking a break and buying Bitcoin. Oh, that's interesting. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. And it would, I could see it. I could see a case for this. I really could. Bitcoin typically tops out before altcoins. So if the market is really going to shift into altcoins, what are people going to do with all this crazy Bitcoin profit that they have? Like Bitcoin is up since its lows. Bitcoin is up 700%. That's pretty significant. So if altcoins look like they're about to run, could the market start to be taking profit in Bitcoin a little bit? Obviously, there's Bitcoin ETFs. There could be countries creating Bitcoin treasuries. We will have to see here. But I could see a case where Bitcoin, maybe it's just going to not go super parabolic. Maybe it's just going to keep riding this. That's pretty solid still if it even just kind of chops sideways for a while. Also, we look at the global liquidity offset. We've talked about this a little bit. There's this index here for Bitcoin. It's the global liquidity index. There's a 108-day offset. We can see that Bitcoin has been following this pretty tightly. And if this is going to be the case, we actually have the peak right here for global liquidity at around October 17th. And then global liquidity actually cools off. So could Bitcoin actually start to cool off? And that would coincide with an alt season. Bitcoin cooling off, people start to take Bitcoin profits, potentially putting some of those profits into altcoins. Or could this be in the entire market? Could the entire market start to cool down too? We will have to see. All right, beautiful. Next stop, let's go into ETH. ETH is a very common bellwether for the altcoin season as well. We've seen Bitcoin break to new highs over and over again, but ETH, this is the 2021 highs for ETH over here, and ETH has not made it above yet. So seeing ETH finally break through to new highs will be a pretty solid indicator that altcoins are probably going to follow suit. So ETH hasn't made it above that $4,800-ish level. But also we can see, if we go on a smaller time frame here, ETH has broken out of its bullish flag pattern. This should be the time where ETH does break now to the upside. If we just kind of measure the inside of this pattern, that would easily take ETH towards close to that $5,400 mark, potentially. Not a guarantee, but that's the equal measure move. But that would put ETH above its 2021 all-time highs, which, like we've noticed, is pretty bullish for these markets. If we look at ETH over here, after it broke above its 2017 highs, that's where we saw ETH really gaining some serious steam. Okay. I think that's all I have on the macro level. Let me know if you guys have any questions there on the macro level. After that, I'm going to go into a quick lesson with you guys, talking about the skills that you need in order to successfully trade the crypto markets. And if you study these skills in order, this is going to change the game. It's probably going to save you years of spinning your wheels. So we will dive into this quickly. After that, we will look at a altcoin chart of the week, and then we can open up to any questions. Okay, so let's see if you guys can see this. Looks like you guys can. So what I have here is what I call the 4 cores of trading crypto, or the core 4 of trading crypto, however you want to call it. But what I've found is most people, they're studying cryptocurrency, they're trying to do all the right things, but they just are not succeeding in this space. And I think a big piece of it is they don't understand really what skills they have to learn to be successful in crypto. And I created this framework to really give you an idea of where you should be looking. And a lot of people do this kind of the opposite way, or they don't do any of these. And they wonder why it's taking super long for them to learn how to actually do these skills. It's like somebody going into business. If you don't know sales, if you don't know marketing, if you don't know operations, and you don't study these things and enhance your skills, you're not really going to be good at going into business. Or say you're playing a video game and you want to go ahead and just start battling, whatever it is, you're fighting in the video game, and you don't know that you need to have, your defense up, your attack skills up, your whatever it is, your stamina. You're not really going to go into battle and do very well. So you can think of these as like your stats. Like these are the stats that you need to upgrade to actually be successful in trading. And they're actually in order. So we're going to go over these really quick. Uh-oh. All right, we're back, I think. Okay, let's go over these in order. So number 1, it's so funny. You'll notice as I go through this how off everybody is in this stuff, but or the average person, not you guys, but the average person. So number 1 is risk management. This is the first place you start. Most people, they start just taking trades in crypto. They have no idea how much they should risk on any trade. They don't know where to cut their losses, how much to risk per day, per week, per month of their overall account. And they wonder why they're losing money in crypto. And the funny thing about losing money in crypto is it's completely your fault, right? There's it is 100% your fault when you lose money in crypto. And that's kind of the humbling aspect of this stuff, because you get to choose how much risk. We think, oh, it's the market, I hate crypto, but you as the investor, you as the trader, have full control over how much you lose in crypto or in trading or stocks, whatever it is, you have full control, which actually means it's one of the lowest risk things you can do. Like, for example, if I wanted to buy a house as an investment property, I can't just buy $5, $10 of a house. In crypto, you can buy $5, $10 of cryptocurrency. It's fractionalized. So the risk is unbelievably low when it comes to trading cryptocurrency, but we trade in a way that we think it's high risk. So, and that the reason is you have no idea that this is actually a category that you have to enhance. So the first thing I would do is highly suggest either reading books on risk management, having me help you with risk management, join my coaching program and actually get coached on building a risk management strategy. I'll obviously say that a few times because not many people teach this stuff. But, read books on it, YouTubes, get a mentor, and figure out a risk management strategy to where you understand how to properly size a position, how much risk you will risk on any given trade, how much drawdown that you'll let your portfolio get in overall. Because once you do have this skill maximized, this is like your defense. If you go into battle and you go into take trades in cryptocurrency, and you have high defense, you're never going to get killed. You're not going to get defeated. You're not going to have a game over. But most people do not get to this step until way later. So this is your first step, risk management. Start studying risk management. And let me know if you guys have any questions on these, and we'll start to go to the next one here. Now, once you understand risk management, once you understand all of your defensive strategies in crypto, now you can start to go to what's called market structure. This is going to be number 2, market structure. So what is market structure? Is actually understanding how markets move. Because if you have no idea how the markets move, you're going into the battlefield with absolutely no clue of what's going on. You don't know what the archers are doing, you don't know what the front line is doing, or chess, you don't know what the horses mean, the rooks, whatever. You don't know the structure of the field. You got to understand how money moves, how the markets work, how trends work, how order flow works. These are critical things because if you don't understand what moves the price up and down, it's really hard to know what even makes sense on what to do. Should you get into a position? Should you get out? What's an entry criteria? What tells you if the market is strong versus weak? So the next piece after you've studied risk management is to find books, find YouTubes, find mentors on market structure, so that they can teach you how the markets move and how you should be looking at market structure. How do you know how market cycles work in cryptocurrency? Do you know how price action works in cryptocurrency? Do you know how orders work in cryptocurrencies? What makes the price go up? What makes the price crash? Critical things when it comes to your next steps. So again, first step is going to be risk management. Do not move past that step until you have risk management solved. Number 2, market structure. Understand how the markets move in cryptocurrency. Okay. Number 3 is now going to be psychology and execution. So if you know risk management, if you know how the market moves, and you do not know how to execute properly, you have your mind getting in the way. You always don't follow your risk management rules. You always don't follow your market structure plan. This comes down to psychology. This is where we have to change our identities from being a gambler to being a trader. So the number 1 identity that you have to change is, let's just write this down, G for gambler, 2, T for trader. So you got to move from gambler to trader as fast as humanly possible. Because you got to ask yourself, what's the long-term outcome of a gambler? Do they have millions of dollars? No, they're broke, right? Gamblers over the long term are broke. And what people think about is like, oh no, people can make money playing poker, playing blackjack. Yeah, that's not gambling. People can professionally manage their capital playing blackjack, poker, etc. We're talking about people who bet money with zero structure. That's gambling. So you have to change this. Gamblers want to win it all in one trade. Gamblers are impatient. Gamblers work on gut feelings. Gamblers take trades based on what I say or what influencers say, right? You're just trying to win, right? Randomly. And yes, maybe you will get a win, right? But if you're relying on the odds of gambling, you're going to revert to zero in the end. So you have to make the shift to where you're a trader, where traders make rules. They never risk more than they're willing to lose. They execute on a plan and a plan only, and they know their odds. So they know what their strategy is, they know what their edge is, they know what their odds are, and they simply execute their edge when their edge plays out. They do not get into trades early. They do not over risk. They're not trying to get rich off of one trade. They're trying to get rich over the long term. And yes, it's going to be a slower journey as a trader, but in the reality is, as a trader is a faster journey, because a trader leads to, right? Any professional trader that follows their plan meticulously makes money. But in the end, traders, even though they might say win and have a, who knows, big win, but they're all going to zero in the end. Okay, so that's your psychology. Read books on trading psychology. Trading in the Zone is one of the best books on trading psychology. If you haven't read it yet, read it, buy it as soon as possible. Of course, I can help you with trading psychology. There's YouTube videos on trading psychology, but that will be your next one. And then you have to take that trading psychology and actually execute. Learn how to execute properly and follow your rules. Let me know if you guys have questions there before we move into the last one, and then we'll open it up to questions. And hopefully this is helpful, guys. If you do this, you will literally crush people in trading. Just crush them, because people don't understand how this goes. And then finally, number 4 is going to be your narratives. So this is where a lot of people start, which is crazy. They're starting to find what's the most popular coin, what's the best sector to look in. Is it AI? Is it decentralized perpetual exchanges? Is it meme coins? Is it going to be Bitcoin? What's the next Bitcoin? That's your narratives, is what is going to be the next hot sector in this space. Because if you can find the narrative before the masses, and this is where people have to get back into market psychology, they have to get back into market structure, they have to get back into risk management, because most newbies, they think that they find the narrative, but they're finding the narrative when the masses find the narrative. And there's no opportunity there. When people are screaming from the rooftops, oh, AI is the best. Guess what? AI is no longer the best sector. Oh, meme coins are the best. Look at how much money we made on meme coins. When you feel hype and when people are making money on meme coins, guess what? Meme coins are not the best narrative anymore. Narratives are using things like on-chain analytics, stuff that I teach in my community, how to actually go on-chain and figure out where the whales are buying, how to go through meme coins and look at wallets and look at what the whales are buying, how you find the right crypto Twitter influencers who are early in this space, to where you can start to follow volume trends to see what volume is increasing over time, to where you can find the growing narrative at the tip of that wave. As the wave is starting to crest over, you can ride that wave, not getting in front of the wave and having it fall on you. So that's a big skill, is actually how to find early narratives. But when you do have risk management skills, you do understand market structure, you do understand psychology, that is really where narratives become more powerful, because you have all the right frameworks to go into battle and seek those narratives. So hopefully that was helpful. I just wanted to go through this because I really want you guys to win in this space. Understand these 4 cores of trading crypto. Do them in order. Do whatever it takes to maximize every one of these skills. If you have every one of these skills maximized in order, you will crush cryptocurrency, trading stocks, Forex, futures, trading paintings, trading cars, whatever it is. If you understand all of this when it comes to buying and selling things, especially the liquid markets, it is going to change the game. So let me know if you guys have any questions on those core 4, and we will open up to questions overall as well. And of course, I can help you guys with these. This is my job. This is where my VIP community comes into play. I do have 5 scholarship discounts available right now for those who do want to get one-on-one coaching, where I will literally coach you through every one of these 4. I will teach you exactly what risk management strategies that professional cryptocurrency traders use. I'll teach you exactly how to read crypto market structure, how to have execution plans on how to manage your trades properly, and how to have the psychology to stick to it, and then how to find narratives early. That's the way, at least I could help with these as well. And like I said, also you could go scourge the internet, scourge YouTube, all that stuff to find this as well. Just obviously it's going to be a little more fragmented. Let's see here. Is Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas? Yes, it is. Trading in the Zone, Mark Douglas. I highly, highly, highly recommend getting that book. I read that book, I'd say at least once a year, if not twice a year. Anytime I get on a negative streak in crypto, I read that. No, you can do an Audible. Yeah, Troy, Audible is great for this book. Buy it on Audible, listen to that thing all the time. It's not anything technical. Beautiful. All right, last thing, let's look at the chart of the day here. And I'll tune in for questions before we hop off. The chart of the day that I am looking at right now is on Drift Protocol. Drift Protocol is following the narrative of the decentralized perpetual exchange. So Hyperliquid started it, then there was Aster, then there were a few more where these decentralized perpetual exchanges are starting to bubble up. And we can actually see a nice base that is forming on Drift Protocol. And Drift is, pun intended, is actually drifting out of the top of this base here. So this could potentially be a stage 1 base breakout. And the question would be, would this maybe set the stage for Drift to start to create its actual next stage 2 uptrend? Could we then now start to see Drift starting to trend upwards? And could it potentially start to reach its prior all-time highs, which is from its base about 242% to the upside? Volume was starting to get high on the other end. I would definitely like to see volume start to push up higher here. Traders, investors definitely want to see more volume on these breakouts. But curious to see Drift actually breaking out of this stage 1 base. Again, this isn't financial advice. I guess I get an alert on Egan. And then another one that we've been watching too in our VIP group is Avalanche. Avalanche had also a stage 1 breakout, broke out, hit its first resistance level, actually had a retest back at its neckline, and could potentially be setting up for a new base for a continuation. Traders and investors at this point would probably be looking for some sort of reversal pattern. I don't necessarily see one yet, but could be looking for some sort of reversal pattern here for Avalanche. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, this is, again, things that you want to learn when it comes to market structure. What is a base? What is a reversal pattern? What is a continuation pattern? What is support and resistance? These are all things that you have to learn in trading. All right, beautiful. Any last questions before we end here? Hopefully this was a good session. I would say the major takeaway is the altcoin market, Total 3. Total 3 breaking into new territory is massive. This is something that this market has not done since 2021. So we'll see if this will be indeed, or we can even do a weekly chart, indeed the weekly breakout to new highs. And could we potentially see a little alt season or a big alt season? All right, beautiful. I appreciate you guys tremendously. Like I said, I do have 5 slots open right now for a scholarship discount for anybody who wants hands-on coaching from myself. If that is you, just shoot me a DM in the platform with the word student, and we can talk about what that looks like for you. I'll just get a feel of what your goals are. I'll let you know honestly if I can help you. If you want to do things that I'm not an expert in, I'll never say that I can help you, but if I can for sure help you, I will let you know. Sweet. Amazing. Appreciate you guys. Let's have an amazing week. Let's see if we really get this true October. It's definitely looking promising. I can tell you that, but that's just me, right? The market's the market, but it's looking promising. Cool. I'll see you guys in the platform. You guys know where to find me, and let's keep crushing the crypto markets. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys soon.